Peace. Assalamu alaikum. Hotep. Namaste. Jambo. Ashe. Shalom. All the greetings of love and light to the darkest minds of the light. I am NapahShadah, and this is another episode of the SipDown. I'd like to thank you all for joining us. Woo, the last SipDown, y'all. But anyway, if you didn't catch it, it's down, but it's still always forever out in the ether on the internet. With that said, you should be happy to know that we're live and uncut and raw. And I really appreciate my co-hostesses or my co-hosts, my co-goddesses joining me. And we have a great guest coming on. A lot of you, if not all of you in the consciousness community know Dr. Enqi. However, if you don't know Dr. Enqi, you're going to get to know him tonight. He is a naturopathic doctor. He does a lot of research on melanin healing people of color, especially Black people of color. He's focusing his research right now on diabetes, but he has some very interesting information that he's going to cover today. We're going to talk to him and find out how he got started, who he is, and what drives him to want to be a healer. So before we do bring on Dr. Enqi, I'd like to welcome my co-hostesses. We have Dulcinea and Sister Freedom. Dulcinea, I don't know if you're there. Dulcinea and Freedom are very busy women, but they take their time to come in. Dulcinea has a family. So we're going to go to Robin. Oh, there's Dulcinea. Dulcinea, introduce yourself. Let us know. Oh, by the way, I told you I'm sipping on the chai, right? I'm taking it easy. I don't know if I said this while I'm online. I'm sipping a chai, and it is. Oh, and I got my Valentine Day heart. But anyway, I'm sipping on a kombucha chai. It's a hard chai. What are you sipping on, Dulcinea? Introduce yourself.
Peace. Shalom, everyone. I'm actually just sipping on some Starbucks mango dragon fruit, and it's a little soda mixed in. But peace, everyone.
Peace, Dulcinea.
Freedom.
Peace, Robin.
Hello, everybody. I am, of course, sipping on my ginger tea with lemon and mango and all that good stuff. And it's very tasty. So peace.
Awesome. Delicious. And now, without further ado, we're going to give Dr. Enqi a warm welcome. No, I don't have a soundboard. This is going to be a real clapping, real applause, ladies. Come on. Let's put our hands together. And if you're at home, put your hands together, even though we can't hear. For Dr. Enqi, thank you so much, Dr. Enqi, for joining us. How are you, and what are you sipping on?
I'm actually...
We can't hear you.
I'm sipping on my Blue Magic sea moss. It's kind of an exotic sea moss blend, and just regular herbs. Nothing crazy.
That sounds good. So the Blue Moss, is it something that you produce?
The Blue Magic is a
the Blue Magic, my bad.
Yeah, it's like we call it conscious caviar. So a lot of people had the sea moss market had gotten overrun, and a part of that, the sea moss market being overrun would hypothetically and should be a good thing. You got a lot of people promoting nutritional, but the problem came in, and I had to add some clarity because I'm like the young elder in the space. So now that a lot of our elders have transitioned, it's like I got to maintain a certain, so I started to, just elaborate, because I saw a lot of people getting into the sea moss like it was weed. Like they were selling sea moss like weed. They like, yo, flipping ounces, and I got the pounds and I'm starting to see people get into selling sea moss as a hustle, as opposed to as something that's healthy and nutritious. And it's cool to get the dollars with the hustle, with the healing part, but it's still got to be, the healing part got to be first. So once I start seeing people selling sea moss labeled Irish moss labeled sea moss, and different sea mosses labeled Dr. Sebi's product, and like it just started getting crazy, I had to add some clarity. And then when I started to add clarity, people started to really realize that there was a difference between what we was doing, like, because they had saw videos and be like going out into the ocean with my kids and gathering the actual sea moss, or the Irish moss rather. And, you know, so it's basically a cold water blend of Irish mosses. We have vitamin D and botana and some vitamin E and some other nutrients that we you know, it's a really eclectic blend, but it's based on cold water moss, which would be like your chondrus crispus, your bladderwracks.
Now, is there a grading system, like a universal grading system, as far as CMOS goes? You know, they have that now with the marijuana. What about CMOS? Is there a grade? Is there such a system?
I wouldn't say there's a grading system, but you know, the algae is so you would have to go outside of moss, period, because moss, like a lot of other plant-based products, you have nicknames and then you have scientific names. So to get more information on exactly what it is that you're doing, you got to step outside of the moss universe, because sea moss and Irish moss is not even actual moss. These are algae, it's nutritional algae, but the local people that sustained themselves on them and held them and created the market for years, that was the nickname they gave it to them, because they saw it growing on rocks like the moss that would grow on the trees. So they just start calling it moss. But no, there's a lot of information that you can go into in terms of algae, and you have the different types of algae, where they're grown, what's the nutritional profiles. And then within that space, you do have a commercial grade, food grade, and some of those different things, depending on what type of algae it is. But you got 70, 80,000 different at large, and there may only be like 5 or 10 that's popularly used for food or supplement.
What actually does it do to the body, the sea moss? How does it help you?
That's one of the things that, you know, made me get out there and really start to kind of try to teach, you know, give people some insight, is because there's no such thing really. When you say like sea moss means the different algae that comes from the Caribbean. So the hot water, that's like your St. Lucia, Jamaica, Peru, Tanzania, all those places, they have what's called sea moss, but these are actually a whole bunch of different algae. So a person can't really say, to be honest and say, well, sea moss do this, because it's like, what do you mean sea moss? Are you talking about Gracilaria, or are you talking about Guso? Those are two different types of algae, but they're both labeled sea moss. And then within the Gracilaria family, you have different variations of Gracilaria. So like Gracilaria, people use Gracilaria for cooking, for flavoring. They use Gracilaria for, you know, it has antiviral.
What kind of flavor does it have? Is it nutty or savory or sweet?
Well, Gracilaria has more of like a, it's actually similar to that, to the kombucha. It's got that a little bit, it's got a little umami vibe to it, because it's high in arginine. So you can use it to like make cheesy stuff and things like that. But, you know, if you have any, you know, like recurrent infections or anything, you don't want to use Gracilaria, because it'll make you have an outbreak. It is high in arginine. So it's something that, depending on, and see, that's what I'm saying, like, depending on what you're trying to do with these things, it depends on what you would want to. So like with the cold water algae that I prefer, these are your chondrus crispus, your bladderwrack. Bladderwrack and kelp were like first exploited for iodine. So those things are really good to get the iodine flowing in your body. And most Black and brown people, we're not getting the right levels of iodine and not the right quality of iodine. Iodine not only regulates your metabolism, but it also regulates your pigment system. So iodine is important for that. You even actually have a whole category of pigment based on iodine called iodopsin.
Wow.
Yeah, it's called iodopsin.
When you say that, I want to just jump in. You know, you have a plethora of information. So I want to ask you, when you say pigment, are we talking on the lines of the melanin that you do your research on?
Melanin is one type of pigment, but you got a variety of different pigments in the body. So,
Okay.
what you got melanin, and then melanin breaks down to 3 categories. You got melanin primarily breaks down into 3 categories, but they're new discoveries, right? So the primary 3 categories of melanin is eumelanin, pheomelanin, and neuromelanin. And primarily that's your brain cells, your nerve cells, those are neurons. And then you have your melanocytes, and the melanocytes kind of impregnate other cells with pigment. But you also have your opsins, right? So you got melanopsin, iodopsin, photopsin, rhodopsin. There's a whole new family of pigments that's throughout the skin, the veins, the eyes. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not just like, because a lot of times people get turned off when you say melanin or you say pigment. They go, oh, he about to jump on the white folks shit, and this, you know, it's a white black thing. No, if you're alive, your body relies on pigment. It doesn't matter what color you are, your body relies on pigment. You could have blonde hair, blue eyes. If you didn't have any pigment, you would be brain dead. That's your brain.
And that works for plants too, right? A lot of organisms, mushrooms, fungus, right?
Every organism has to have pigment, but not melanin. Melanin is different. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I do know there's a type of mushroom that has melanin. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it has allomelanin. So that will be a different type than what's in our bodies. So I know a lot of people, they try to couple the two together and go, the mushroom got melanin, we got melanin, must be the same thing. No, that is a fungus-based, that's a fungus-based pigment that, that's not for us.
Well, I was going to talk to you about some of your background, but I love talking to you. We always go flowing. So I want to ask you, I want to go into consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Can you relate? We'll get into your research, but can you relate melanin with consciousness? And can you tell us what your take is on consciousness in plant life, in botany, and consciousness in like fungus?
Well, here's what I'll do, right? And we could start here. We'll look at some stuff.
Does melanin affect consciousness?
I got you. Hold on. Before we even go,
I need a straight answer, brother. I was kidding.
Yes, melanin does affect consciousness, but we should build into the concept and just kind of walk into it a little bit. Let me show you something.
How do you know that? How do you know that, Enqi?
That's why I said we should build into so we don't have that space. So I'm definitely pull up some stuff and we can walk through some. You know, I don't want to just like we just saying stuff without necessarily, coming with.
You still didn't get into what does CMOS help with diabetes or like arthritis? Does CMOS help? I was wondering if he was going to get into that. That does help.
Absolutely, but the questions are going and
right. No, yeah, he's going to do that, but because you the way you said, you made a distinction in the melanin, and you're now. I see you getting into the metaphysical, No.
I want to answer all the questions. So
let's get an answer on the God, the consciousness, and botany.
Hit the share screen.
Got it.
Let's hit the share screen and let's just go through
We're ready.
Stuff. Okay,
wow.
So
now is this your video?
Relax, ladies. Let me show y'all some information.
Don't be getting me flagged.
No, you're not gonna get flagged. Stop saying that. See, when you
No,
say
no,
that,
no.
you
You
put
know
that out
what?
there, take that out of the ethers. Get that out of the air.
Yes,
Rebuke
let
that.
me put it. Let me
Just
put it like
relax.
this.
Just
No,
relax. I
brother.
got it.
Hear
Yeah,
me, Enqi. I don't want to mute you. No, I won't mute you. Enqi, when you
Yes,
bring truth and you bring something outside conventional science, you're targeted. We had Brother Sanchez on here.
That, oh
I
my
got
God, please, wait.
flagged. I got
I
strike.
cannot let you mix me up with Brother Sanchez. Brother Sanchez
That's
is a
my
goofball.
brother.
Brother Sanchez is a goofball space cadet that
Okay.
makes up information and does not use references.
Don't do that.
Please do not mix me with these guys in the
Okay,
public.
brother. Okay, calm down. We want to strike that rewind. Okay, just stick to your information. We
Okay,
love
there we
Brother Sanchez over here.
Okay,
Okay,
there we go.
but I hear you. I shouldn't compare you, but what I'm saying is you've got some real hot information, and that YouTube zones in on that.
No. I know, but I don't do like just I got you. I
Got it.
understand your concerns.
Okay.
Duly noted.
Let me get my kombucha.
And you pull it out. Yo, stop. Let me get to this. Yo, listen. So this is not something that can be. See, this is what I'm saying about real science, right? You can't do health with pretend stuff, right? So here's the thing. What I'm getting ready to show you here is a melanocyte, right? And we're going to start at the center of health. This is a melanocyte, right? Regulating your heartbeat. So it's one thing for me to say that melanin is at the center of your heart function, right? And then people go, oh yeah, he making that up. That's pseudo. It's another thing for me to show you under the microscope melanin regulating the pacemaker cells, right? So then I'm gonna show you in the diagram, then I'm gonna show you in the papers. Like I'm gonna show you. Just relax. I got you. We're gonna see it in every type of way, but this is actual science. We pull up the cells under the microscopes here.
So we have a melanocyte, which is aiding in heartbeat. How so? How is it aiding in heartbeat?
It's regulating the heartbeat.
How is it regulating? So from what I've heard, before you get to that, is there some type of immunofunction with the melanocyte? And is that?
I can't skip around. I gotta go. You gotta let me go.
You are on the hot seat.
No. I'm cool with being on a hot seat as long as
I'm joking. Enqi,
Yeah.
I'm joking. You're not on the hot seat.
Okay. I'm on the medium seat. Either way, the science, I gotta have time to cook. So I'm showing you right here under a microscope, melanin regulating your pacemaker cells. Now, the question is consciousness. The question is diabetes, right? So we're going to deal with both at the same time.
Yes, arthritis.
Oh, hold on. Don't start adding more questions. Relax. Let me just deal with what's at hand right now. We got diabetes. We got consciousness. So when we're talking about diabetes, we know that the number one cause of death in America is heart disease. We know the number two cause of death in America is brain disease. What many people don't know is that the number one cause of heart disease and the number one cause of brain disease is diabetes. That's what we need to know first. So we attack heart disease and we attack brain disease at the same time when we attack diabetes. When we look at heart function specifically now, we know that we also have to take into consideration a new phenomenon, which is sudden cardiac arrest. Sudden cardiac arrest. Now, so that we make sure we stay in the science bag.
And this has something to do with that algae too that you was talking about. The sea moss.
We're going to get to it. Okay, so I just want to make sure that we're providing answers so that people, especially when people watch the video, right? All right, so y'all see this here? The difference between a heart attack and a cardiac arrest. A heart attack is when blood flow to the heart is blocked. Sudden cardiac arrest is when the heart malfunction and suddenly start beating. A heart attack is a circulation problem. Sudden cardiac arrest is an electrical problem. All right. So I just want to make sure that we establish everything science-wise, that we're not making up anything or nobody's, that's why we got to go through the papers with it. Right. And I'm going to try to move as quickly as possible. Right. So now let's go back here and let's look at cardiac electroanatomy. We're going to go through this in a breeze. It's going to be very quick. Right. Right here, you see this is the SA node. This SA node is what releases the electricity inside your heart that allows your heart to function.
And which valve is that?
But all of your
atrial valve?
No, all four chambers of the heart are regulated by the SA node.
So it's with the little pointer on it. Is it in? I see the chamber, but is it?
This is separate than the chambers. This is the SA node and the AV node are two separate things from the chambers. These are the things that control the chambers. So the SA node produces the electric current that opens up and closes the chambers and allows your heart to push blood out. But I'm showing
repeat that.
The SA node. Here, let me just do it like this.
So you're talking on the lines of regurgitation. Like
No,
because I'm agreeing with you. Because that affect, when people get older, cardiologists will tell people, well, that's just normal for you to start having those issues with your chambers and
no, but this is just how it works when you're healthy. Like, this is a healthy heart.
Mm-hmm. But I'm saying when you're related to diabetes.
Right, but we're not to diabetes just yet. Right now, we just learning the background of the information. So once I start giving the answers, it'll all make sense. Okay. If I start giving the answers directly, then it'll make more questions. So this is why it's just, we build up to the answer. And then once I say the answer, like we get to the algae part, it's going to all make sense because we didn't cover the anatomy part.
All right. Family, please hit the like button if you can. If you're enjoying this build, if you don't like it, hit the dislike button. But just make sure you make your mark. I appreciate that. And thank you to the mods and all the people showing me love. I see you.
Now, that right there represents the electrical current that basically keeps us alive. Right now, we're going to skip along because I want to get to some of the part. I want to get to something behind that and bring it around just a little bit so you can understand where nutrition plays a role. Now, this is how the electrical gradients and potential is generated, right? This is where what you're eating comes in. What you're looking at is the basic control, if you will, for electric current in your system. That's potassium, sodium, and calcium.
Okay, yeah. So those are electrolytes.
Those are electrolytes. And that's the reason why electrolyte, right? Electrolyte. So what you see here now, these are the three different channels that combine to this is what keeps you alive. Now, we know about the calcium and the potassium, but there's a different thing that goes on in the heart, and it's called funny current. That's what you see right here. The first one is called funny current. That's regulated by melanin, and that's regulated by sodium.
Oh, wow. So the Na is the sodium, right?
Yes. And that's what regulates the pacemakers in the heart. So this is important because this is why the people is falling down right now. Everybody's grabbing their chest. They don't realize, like, when you got goofballs like Q Butter that's telling people that melanin is not real science, that, melanin is not real science, but people are falling down. You see what it says? Furthermore, cardiac melanocytes See, this is a new category of melanocytes because this is a new discovery, or more recent rather, cardiac melanocytes. Now, if this is something that you do for a living, of course, you're up to date on all the new discoveries and what's happening in terms of your anatomy and how that relates current time to what we're going through as a people. If this is a hobby or something you play with, you can't, you shouldn't be on public airwaves, because this is not like history or religion. History or religion, you could get it wrong and be harmless. If you don't know what you're talking about with this, you in the way, right? Especially when we got athletes and news people grabbing their chest falling out. That means there's hundreds of thousands of everyday people grabbing their chest falling out, but they're not important enough to get put on the screen. You understand what I'm saying? But this is showing you right here, cardiac melanocytes control the amount of atrial reactive oxygen species, which play a role in the electrical and structural remodeling of the heart. So this is showing beyond a shadow of a doubt that melanin is real science. You see, this is what folks don't understand. See, look at this. Cardiac melanocytes influence autonomic effects upon atrial arrhythmogenesis. So now what these articles is getting into is that the melanin actually even controls the triggers that would cause sudden cardiac arrest, right? So I'm as we walking around, I just want to show the information in a variety of ways. See, look at this here. This even gives you a little diagram here of cardiac melanocytes at the aortic valve, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You see right here, these are cardiac melanocytes right here to the right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's showing you that they control the aortic valve. And that's just in this little picture here.
Now, let me jump in, Dr. Enqi. Are we essentially saying, for people who really want to be well, that you really need to make sure that you have a good level of electrolytes, first off, if we're talking about diet and intake, and that affects it affects what you're discussing?
No, I wouldn't. That's well known already. What I'm saying
not
is
for everybody. Trust me, it's well known for you.
You're right. Let me stand corrected on that. You're 1,000% correct. So yes, for the people that need that, yes, electrolytes are a baseline part of your everyday health. But what I'm going further to say is that there is an entire part of our anatomy, the basis of how our body function have been left out of these textbooks. And these goofballs is going to college and getting brainwashed into believing that their ancestors didn't know anything. And so now what they don't understand is that our best, most cutting edge science is not proving our ancestors wrong. It's proving that they was correct.
How did our ancestors know this information? This is so deep, and there's so much scientific research that had to take place. How did they know this information?
Well, because they already did. They did the same. They were doing the work. A lot of what we're doing is coming from those blueprints. A lot of when we look through the halls of science and they talk about this person discovering that or blah, blah, blah. What they actually, those people were doing is figuring out discoveries that archaeologists were making. And so when you figured out something, then you got credit for creating something. But it's not like, the guy from France that got credit for the battery created the battery. No, they found it in Egypt and then he took it back to France and played with it till he got it to work. And then he got credit for creating the POW battery and all that, or the voltaic power, but this is already there. You know what I'm saying? This is something that's already there. So now
they had a lot of remedies in Africa and different places that are now in America, quote unquote, stolen or taken. And now other people are getting credit for things that they like cures and things that they had in different places like Africa.
Well, what's happening is it's not even, it's, so the thing is this, people don't study. And because now everybody is trying to just like fake it and sell something, people are buying in and tapping in and using people's ignorances and biases against them. And so all people have to do is get literate in the space. This is why I come off always as aggressive or a hater, because I'm trying to protect this for everybody. It's not that I'm trying to take this away from people. I'm trying to make sure everybody do it the right way so it lasts. I don't want people to not sell herbs. I just don't want them to sell fake shit, and then you fuck up the market. So now in the future, it has to be over-regulated because there was goofballs that didn't know what they was doing. Like, for instance, you got the guys out there selling Batana oil right now. Let me turn off the share screen real quick so I can show you what I'm saying with the Batana oil. Look at this now. This right here is Batana oil that people is out there selling. They saying
Let
that
me
this
put
is
you on the big screen. Hold on. This is I'd like to process this slowly.
Hey, Kayla, Chloe, one of y'all.
And how many doctors do you see, family, who look like one of the rappers from NWA?
Right there somewhere. Go grab it for me.
Enqi, I was making a comment on you. You're a doctor and you're a scientist, but you look like you're an NWA member.
Purple cornrows and gold teeth.
Okay, don't hate, and your necklace. But we're gonna find out what the acronyms around your neck mean.
It ain't a doctor nowhere. That's yes.
Are you drinking? Are you having drink? I'm gonna drink some kombucha. Is that your drink? Here's to science and here's to healing.
No. Wait. No. This is the science. So let me show you. This right here is the Batana oil. Right. Well, let's listen. This is the Batana oil that people are selling, calling this raw Batana oil, right? And I'm showing you why.
The camera so we can see it. It looks like ginger or maybe a mushroom. It's brown.
I know, but I need you to listen. Listen to what I'm saying.
I'm listening.
This is why people be mad with me, because I do this thing that I'm getting ready to show you right now.
Do it.
Batana oil, right? This is.
But I can't really see that item in your hand.
All you need to see is that. All you need to see is that it's not liquid, right? All you need to see is that it's solid, right? Because when you have
can you give it a little squeeze?
Ooh. No, I can't. I'm not gonna squeeze. It's already messy. Stop talking for a second so I can tell these people what I'm trying to tell them. Listen.
So it is oil.
When you have oil that's solid at room temperature, it is saturated fat.
Coconut oil is solid at room temperature.
When you have oil solid at room temperature, is saturated fat. When you have oil that's liquid at room temperature, it's unsaturated fat. Just to make things simple. Now, when you smell this Batana oil, the Batana oil smells like burnt coffee. Now, what they're telling people is that is because it is a great high quality product. That's far from the truth. Let me hit the share screen again, and I'm going to show you exactly why it smells like burnt coffee. And this is why I have to do what I do the way that I do it, with the energy that I do it with. All right, you hit the share screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you look at this, this is what is actually is making the Batana oil.
Polycyclic aromatic
hydrocarbons. Correct. These are the most cancer. This is one of the most dangerous carcinogens known to man, and is produced from burning oil. So all of these people that's buying Batana oil that smells like burnt coffee, that's solid at room temperature, is actually only getting cancer-causing saturated fat. They don't really understand that the Batana business is not a underground business in the jungle. See, they want to tell people that story like, oh, they making it in the jungle of Honduras. And no, it's actually one of the most largely farmed products all over the place. Batana is actually none other than palm oil.
Palm oil.
Find out information about Batana, you don't need to look up Batana, because Batana is not a real thing. Like I'm saying about a lot of these things like sea moss and algae. Sea moss is a nickname. It's actually algae. So if you want to find scientific literature on sea moss, you got to look up algae. Sea moss don't exist. It's not a real thing. It's like Harlem. Harlem is fake. It doesn't really exist. Harlem is an idea in the minds of Black people, and those Black people is dead and gone. The whole thing. There's only Manhattan. Harlem is an idea for people uptown, just like the Village is an idea of a neighborhood in lower Manhattan, but it's actually Manhattan. Manhattan is the borough. It's not Harlem. You know what I'm saying? So Batana's not a thing. Batana, there's no Batana tree. You have two types of palm trees. You have African palm trees and American palm trees. American palm trees, they get two types of oil from it. They get the solid oil that I showed you in my hand that they call Batana, and they get the liquid one that I showed you in my other hand. They call that Ojan. The Ojan is the high quality filtered processed one that doesn't have the cancer causing stuff and all that in there. But the local people can't really get their hands on that to sell it on Amazon and eBay and all of these little, you know, if you want to get the high quality stuff, you got to go through the actual businesses that's processing the stuff. So
what about moringa? Moringa.
Moringa's just as messed up as moringa's worse than a lot of stuff out there because moringa is highly hybridized. So
well, let's talk. Wait, let me take a pause and everybody just take a sip because I want to add something. This is true what you're talking about when we start heating and cooking with palm oil. But let's not discourage people about the,
no, we got to discourage people. We got to discourage
Hold on,
people.
Enqi. Enqi.
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to address the benefits of palm oil when it's not cooked with, when it's used for topical, and when it's also used in.
Yes.
Yeah. So let people know that you see, because this is the thing. As a chemist and a doctor, you know this. People need to know that oil is not all oils aren't the same. Just, right? So I want you to, palm oil is so beneficial. I've used it for my clients for healing with wounds and topical. So can you talk to them about
everything is in the same subject line. So the number one thing with Batana, remember, all roads with me lead to Wakanda. I've been teaching the same stuff since people know me. The information just expands. That's why it's so hard for people to sit at the same table with me, because while they sleep, I'm studying this.
But I sit at the same table with him.
Look, while they having sex, I'm still studying this. While they doing nationality work, while they doing the nationality shit, I'm still doing this same thing. While they doing economics, I'm still doing this. While they swimming, I'm still doing this. While they playing, like this, what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and I gotta give you a prop.
So yeah, so everything is going to be, all of the information goes like this. One of the things that we have to protect in the diabetes place, but also now in a hyper sense now, because the COVID causes type 1 and type 2 diabetes because of the H proteins in the liver and the pancreas. So you have to protect the heart and the brain in diabetes. We look at the news, if we look online and see what's going on right now, we have to protect the heart and the brain from the new dangers that's out. So one of the most important things to get into your diet is vitamin E. And vitamin E, although it's something that we take for granted because we think that we're getting it in, and we see vitamin E pills sold all over the place, especially in the little hair places. We don't know that, again, most of those vitamin E pills is fraud. Like, it's not the right vitamin E for your body. So Again, we don't really study. That's why I'm saying the information has to be the most important thing, because when we look at vitamin E, most of the vitamin E that's on the market is a tocopherol. Tocopherols, again, saturated fat. That's not what the body can use. That's not going to be healthy for the body. That's not going to protect your membrane. So a lot of times you buying vitamin E, you got tocopherol. If you got vitamin E in your house right now, go look at it, turn it around the back to the ingredients and see if you got tocopherol in your as vitamin E. If you got tocopherol, that means that that's not good. That's not what you need. You
Can
need
I stop screen sharing this?
Oh, hey, here. Actually, keep the screen share. Let me do this.
You mind say D alpha something, tobacco or somewhere.
Real quickly. So did you want to let us know how long you've been doing this and then answer her question? Because I want people to know how long you've been doing this research, and I want to go back to the palm oil, because the vitamin E does have a great, especially palm oil, there's a high level of beneficial immuno boosters.
I got you.
I don't want you to turn people, because Enqi, they're going to hear this and they go, oh, I can't do any vitamin E. I mean, I can't do any palm oil.
Well, they gotta listen. Let me explain it to them. So if I get through the whole thing, then they'll get the benefit and what to look out for. So
that's what's in mine, Enqi. Just what you just pulled up is what's on the back of this.
Tocotrienols?
Yes, I couldn't pronounce the word. Thank you.
Okay, good. So now you got two large categories of vitamin E. You got tocopherols, which is this word here, and then you got tocotrienols. You got 4 or 5 different tocopherols, 4 or 5 different tocotrienols. Tocopherols are the more inexpensive ones that don't work. Tocotrienols is what the body needs. Tocotrienols is what's going to be heart protective. It's going to give you the anti-cancer, specifically delta and gamma tocotrienols. Those are the 2 types of tocotrienols that we get the benefit from. So this is how we have to put together, so all of your fat soluble vitamins are going to play a role in anti-inflammation, especially when you deal with the heart. So the other thing that you're dealing with, and this delta and gamma vitamin E is very rich in not just palm oil, because a lot of the palm oil that's on the market is African, and the African is different than the American palm tree, the vitamin profile. And then to take it a step further, the refining process. So usually they only call it palm oil after they've refined all of the pigment and the vitamins out of it. Okay. So they remove that and then put that somewhere else to sell that somewhere else for a different price. So they can sell regular palm oil for maybe $1 or $2 an ounce, but they can sell something vitamin rich for $20 to $40 an ounce. So you can look at the color and you can automatically tell how much pigments and vitamins you have in there. So the other thing that you have in the American palm that makes it that color is you have a high amount of vitamin A. And vitamin A is what you really need to prevent the inflammation inside your pancreas. Inside your pancreas, let me show you this stuff here so that people don't think I'm going crazy.
What you're a scientific genius, and I'm not capping you or flattering. So we need to say, when he says that, family, he's going back to regulating. We're talking about diabetes, regulating your insulin. So when he says his pancreas, he's thinking, oh, everybody knows this, but I'm kind of doing the translation. Right, Dr. Enqi, you're saying we're talking about insulin regulation when we talk about pancreas, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, so wonderful.
We're talking about insulin. We're also talking about the endocrine function as well, because here we go. Vitamin A storing cells in the human and rat pancreas. Vitamin A storing cells with lipid droplets and fluorescent characteristic of vitamin A were observed in the normal and rat pancreas using light fluorescence and electron microscopy. So basically, without going into a long story, the vitamin A inside the liver and the pancreas prevent the damage from inflammation. But if we don't have the levels of vitamin A we need in our body, then obviously we're vulnerable. What destroys vitamin A? Blue light. So if we don't understand the nature of light, so see, we back to the debate. If we don't understand the nature of light,
I was just about to say that. I swear, right when you start talking about that, I was like, you're going to go into light.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, because
go into how all of this comes back to light, even the melanin, the pigmentation, the debate. Are you muted? Because if you're not, I'm going to ask the sisters. Robin, Dulcinea. Robin was asking about moringa and some other things.
Now I'm trying to find out still how okay, where can you get algae from? That's you know, just pure algae.
Right. Well, I like me, and I'm the first holistic healer or naturopath to actually go to the ocean and get his own. So I got in my documentary is out. It's called the American Healer documentary. So it's on my YouTube page. It's on a couple of different platforms out there. But it shows me literally going out into the, yeah. So you can go out in the Caribbean. In the Caribbean is safe. The sea mosses in the Caribbean is safe. That's sea moss. When you see people on YouTube and they like looking handsome or they looking sexy and it's nice and sunny out and they like scuba diving to grab sea moss, that's warm water algae. That's your gusos, your gracilarias, your ucomas, stuff like that. Chondrus crispus, kelp, and bladderwrack doesn't grow in those places. Chondrus crispus, kelp, and bladderwrack grows in dangerous water. Dangerous cold water where jellyfish and sharks and all kind of shit is, and tide to crush your boat in half. You know, my partner got stranded in the ocean twice. They had to send a helicopter looking for him while we out just trying to get sea moss, or Irish moss, rather.
Do you make something with the vitamins in it with that and like the vitamins talking about?
Yes, the Blue Magic Gel. Yes, ma'am. The Blue Magic Gel has all of the algae that we discussing, as well as the vitamin D, the vitamin A, the vitamin E, all of those things blended together.
Does it help with your skin?
Oh,
like
absolutely.
Tightening your skin and things like that?
Of course, because the thing is okay, so here's where we switch over, I guess, for a hot second to protein, right? So a lot of times we just get protein as an answer. And that's where Sebi kind of came in with, protein we don't need protein. And again, is amino acids a real thing? Absolutely. Is your body made out of protein? Absolutely. Are your pigments proteins? Absolutely. Like, that's not what the thing is you don't need to eat protein for your body to have protein. What you need to eat is amino acids. And then your body will synthesize its proteins, because proteins are amino acid chains, just like your hormones, pigments, whatever. But you need to put the right aminos in so your body can synthesize all of the proteins that it needs.
Is salt palamento one of them?
No, that's a herb, but that's an herb that people use for like the prostate and some other stuff. But no. When you ask me about the skin, I'm just giving you the whole info. I know I always take the long way with these answers, but it's because I want to provide you with the most info. So when people say you need protein, 99% of the time, they're talking about branched chain amino acids. Branched chain amino acids is not going to do nothing for your skin. It in fact, if you don't exercise, branched chain amino acids will help you to get cancer, will help you to get diabetes, because it's going to activate your mTOR system, and it's going to put you in a space of hypergrowth. And if you're not exercising to channel that growth into the muscles, it's going to boost your catabolic hormones in your fat stores, and it's going to tear you up. So when we trying to focus in on certain things, we got to know what builds those things, right? So you don't want branched chain amino acids. What you want is your proline and your glycine. Those are the collagen making amino acids. So now when you get the collagen making amino acids, those are
what?
The collagen making amino acids, right? Those are going to make your skin look amazing. And those collagen based amino acids are high. The highest concentration in their rarest, purest form comes from the algae, which is another reason why we have such an eclectic blend to target that synthesis, because tissue
from the inside or from the outside, like is
from the inside, because from the inside is the most important, because when you diabetic or anything you're dealing with, or just even as you get older, especially when we're not working out like we should, those tissues start to break down. And what a lot of people don't understand is the layering of our, so when the inner layers start to thin out, that's when we start to get that look where it's like there's nothing happening. We start to lose the elastic, and then people, start to get surgery and then look like Jada Pinkett, you know what I'm saying? And, that's not necessarily what we...
I'm saying I'm not getting it yet, but I know one day. So I'm trying to get prepared so I won't.
No, get the Blue Magic. Go to AmericanHealer.website. That's my website, AmericanHealer.website. Like not .com, .website.
American
Healer.website, not AmericanHealer.com. Like people think .com is websites. No, there's a lot of different endings. So mine is .website. American Healer website is literally the AmericanHealer.website. And we got the Blue Magic gel here.
You done added more people in. So what is that? American Healer
website. Yes, ma'am.
And I definitely want you to get back to the blue light, but I did have a question that since you were going with the algae, I know a lot of people were saying melanated people should stick with the Caribbean algae and everything and not do the crispus. Yeah. Okay.
Who said that?
I've heard that before, so I wanted you to elaborate.
That's crazy. Listen, that's crazy. That melanated people should stick to the Caribbean sea moss. Like, see, in conversation or in debate, that's a logical fallacy, right? That's people trying to sell their products by making you angry with the white man, or trying to play that emotional game with, the black people should have the black nutrition. Like, hold on, family. What is the black nutrition? No, that's not how we're going to do this. We're going to go, what does my body need? Where does it come from? Right? So that came from clearly somebody that's confused. And I'll tell you how you could tell if that person's confused. Go back to the source. You ain't even got to say who it is or what right here, but go back to the source of that person who said we should have the Caribbean sea moss because we black. And I bet you it's a follower of Dr. Sebi's. And when you look and you see that they're a follower of Dr. Sebi's, all you got to do is say, why would you be promoting Caribbean sea moss when Dr. Sebi never promoted Caribbean sea moss? Dr. Sebi promoted Chondrus crispus. When you go and buy Dr. Sebi sea moss, it was Chondrus crispus mixed with bladderwrack. When you go into the ocean and you see where Chondrus crispus grows, it grows in the same water with bladderwrack. So it's a natural combination to make those. But most people, these niggas that's calling themselves healers and herbalists, these niggas ain't never went in the ocean and got no sea moss. They ain't never went nowhere. These niggas is just remixing bullshit from that they hear from YouTube and they products they wholesaling from Amazon. They don't know what this stuff really look like in real life. They ain't never pulled the plants. They never been out there. So you just got to look at what you need. Now, if we're going by what the body needs,
the pill and the cream.
I sell capsule. Yeah, I have capsules and gel.
Gel.
And powder too. But what we need is the RBG format. That's what we got to think when we think algae. That's the first thing we should think with algae. RBG. What is RBG when it comes to algae? Red, brown, and green. The red, the brown, and the green. So you got red algae, brown algae, and green algae. In the green algae category, you also have blue algae, right? So blue, green, blue, they kind of all in the same space in algae. You categorize the pigment because the pigment and the fiber is where all of the minerals and vitamins are going to be. This is why processed food is bad for you, because they remove the pigment and the fiber. And when you remove the pigment and the fiber, that's the layer that also has the vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, all that's in there. So that's why the food is devoid of those things once you strip it of that. But that's the primary nutrient set. Now, the problem with algae is it has to be handled very very gently to keep all of the pigments in good condition to get to your blender, to your house. A lot of times they allow the pigment to start eroding because the people handling the algae don't know what they're doing. These are weed dealers, cocaine dealers that think that they could switch to selling sea moss and sell it the same way without like being worried about going to jail. That's where you get like the King Earner kind of shit going on. But they don't know what they're doing. So this is why you got people telling you that yellow sea moss or gold sea moss is the best sea moss. That's dead. I'm going to say dead. Yellow sea moss is good for people that never had sea moss before because there's not a lot of vitamins and nutrients in it. So it doesn't really have a strong smell. With algae, the stronger the smell, the nastier it smells, the more like ocean it smells, the more potent the vitamin concentration is in the algae. So when you have your yellow, that's your algae dying because you don't have algae like that. You don't have nutritional algae like that. Nutritional algae comes red, brown, and green. Remember, red, brown, green, and then you got blue. So where does yellow come in? If it grows red, brown, green, where does yellow come in? Yellow comes in when you take it out of the water and it starts to oxidize and the pigment starts to break down. The blue pigment breaks down first. That's why we named ours. Well, one of the reasons why we named it Blue Magic. The other reason is because my dad was a part of the Blue Magic era back in the days, you know, selling a lot of heroin in Harlem, you know. So I felt like we could turn some of that karma around by now healing people with that moniker, Blue Magic. You know what I'm saying? But also the Blue Magic is what we do to retain our process, how we keep it. So we retain the blue pigment along with the red, because the blue pigment is the most fragile. When you pull it out the ocean, that's the first pigment to go. The blue. Once the blue go, the purple is gone. If you even had some purple look, now you're down to red, and next stop is yellow. And after yellow, it starts to get whitish. You know what I'm saying? That's you losing your vitamins and your nutrients. So
a lot of people mix it with fruit to help the taste. And I've bought some, you know. I mean, you know, my girlfriend.
Well, here's the thing. You should never purchase it with fruit mixed into it. Never. No, you should buy it and mix your own fruit into it because fruit gel lasts for a long time. Fruit does not. So if you put fruit in it, like people selling them jars of blueberry sea moss gel and mango sea moss gel and all that, unless you're going to eat that whole jar in a day or two, you wasting your money on that because it's going to start to go bad. The fruit inside the gel is going to start breaking down shortly. Like no, you want to have gel. You want to have your gel, and then you want to be able to scoop your gel into your blender. And if you add mangoes or blueberries or whatever you want to do, you do it at your own listen, I have a deadbeat baby mother. You know what I'm saying? Thank God. You know what I'm saying? I had an amazing lawyer, amazing people around me help me out. I'm successfully divorced. For all of the non-believers out there, I have sole custody of my children. Sole custody. Sole, not joint, not shared. Sole custody of my children. You know what I'm saying?
How many is it? Good gracious.
Just 5 now. I'm down to 5. I'm down to 5 right now. I'm down to 5. But I don't know. I don't know if I don't know if my testicles totally retired. I think I might have thrown them up in the rafters prematurely. I might have to take them down and get back in the game.
Crazy.
Look, keep me with the information. Keep me with the information. Now, listen, we on the information.
You think that this is good for women that are going through menopause? I mean, because they start losing their estrogen, they start changing, the body starts changing things.
Well, here's the thing: we have something on the website called anabolic hormone health, right? Anabolic hormone health is just what it is. It's for men and it's for women, right? It helps your body to get back into the process of producing more. Everybody needs help with their anabolic cycle because of the environment, because of the lighting, because of what we're eating. Everybody can use help with their anabolic hormone cycle. And I know some women out there, they're like, hold up, I don't need anabolic hormones. Women have estrogen. We don't have testosterone. See, that's because y'all listening to them goofball scientists like Q Butter. Y'all confused. Women absolutely have to have healthy testosterone production to keep their eggs and their reproductive system together. You don't need testosterone to maintain your body, but you do need testosterone to maintain your womb. Testosterone maintaining your body is going to make you have muscle mass. It's going to make you have a deep voice and a mustache. But you need testosterone because testosterone makes things grow. You have a bunch of eggs to maintain. You have to, it's like around those eggs, you got like a little sprinkler system that sprinkles the eggs with testosterone. When you start to build up a lot of aromatase and you start to build up a lot of the estrogen, that's going to affect that. And so this is where you got a lot of women that developing fibroids. They can't get pregnant. They got to take pills, injections. You got babies in jars, all kind of crazy stuff because we're losing touch. And the problem is not, I got to say this, and I know some of y'all cringe because y'all have personality worship. So y'all don't like when I point out that some of the people y'all like don't know what they talking about. That's the problem, because it's not the dumb people that's out front that's leading us astray. We can all see clearly to goofballs like, oh yeah, no, we're not even linked. It's the people coming back presenting themselves saying, oh, I just came back from college. Look, I'm amazing. No, because I came from college. College, I got, and they don't know a goddamn thing. They don't know anything. Or they may have a degree in an area of expertise and they might be outside their area of expertise because they're so used to being around uneducated, unread people that have awestruck, or they look like a deer in headlights when you say you read a few books or you got a degree. No, it's like if you got a few dollars and you around people on welfare, automatically it's easy for you to feel like you're doing something. But the moment you go to a different type of environment or you move in a different neighborhood, you're going to see that, that little few dollars that don't, like, it's not the same. And that's what it is. It's like when you come around people that do this for 20 or 30 years, the information, the learning curve is different. And when you're dealing with health, this is something that you have to be dedicated to. This is not like an internet history buff, an internet religion buff. This is not that. That's yesterday. That's unchanging. Health is constantly changing. You have to understand the roots of how your body functions to understand how to tie these foods in. So now, if we double back, remember diabetes, consciousness, we got to circle back to consciousness. The facilitator of consciousness in our body is phosphorus. The facilitator of consciousness in our body is phosphorus. Okay. Now people are going to go, what? Phosphorus. Chemiluminescence is how your biology runs. Chemiluminescence, for the people that don't know what that is, right? Because they say when I use big words and I'm making these things up. It's just evident that these guys don't know what the F they talking about. But chemiluminescence is light that's produced from from chemistry, just to make it simple, right? So that's what we do in our body. We use the atoms, the elements, the molecules, the compounds, the minerals to produce light in our body. What system is that? ATP. We know it. We've learned about it. We all know it, but because we surface level with the information, we just didn't get the next piece, right? We all know, okay, our body turns the food somehow into ATP, right? And that's not exactly true, but it works for conversation. What's really happening is your body uses the food to power recycling of ATP. Cool. Same thing for conversation is good. Anyway, how our body uses that ATP exposes the nature of consciousness, as well as how your energy system in your body facilitates your consciousness. So when we use ATP, ATP is adenosine triphosphate. That means you have a protein, right? Kind of loosely, right? Holding on to 3 phosphates. Right? Tri means 3. Phosphate is a phosphorus. And the ATE part, the 8, comes in when you surround that mineral with, or that phosphorus rather, with oxygen. So phosphate is a phosphorus surrounded by oxygen. Well, when we look up phosphorus, we'll learn that the reason why phosphorus is called phosphorus is because phosphorus was originally called the light bearer. Because anytime phosphorus is in the presence of oxygen, it produces light. So if you look up phosphorus and you look up the term phosphorescence, which is the oxidation production of light, started with phosphorus because that's what phosphorus does. So when the ATP is dropped off of the electron transport chain and it's released in your cytoplasm, the oxidizing of the phosphorus releases light into the cell, and that light is harnessed by all of the different pigment systems and the nerve system to relay information instantaneously around the body and facilitate that consciousness. But none of that can happen not only without melanin, but the whole other wide array of pigments. Like I said, we have opsins, we have your melanins, then you got your globins, which function almost like pseudo pigments. That's your hemoglobins, your cytoglobins, your neuroglobin, your myoglobin. All of these are different families of pigments that's functioning. So it's not just melanin, you know what I'm saying, but pigment. That's why I kind of just say the pigment because I don't want people to get it, take it out of context. But so all of that is facilitated by the pigments in your body. Now, how that's regulated in your neurochemistry is by 2 hormones. One is called melanin stimulating hormone. The other is called melanin concentrating hormone. These are the 2 hormones that are the master regulators of your entire body. Everything runs from either melanin stimulating hormone or melanin concentrating hormone. Even when people smoke weed, right? To take it to something so basic so you can understand what I'm saying. Even when you smoke weed, most people, you don't got to know nothing scientific about weed to know that if you smoke weed, you're going to get the munchies. Well, the way my brain works, like it's almost like it's a gift and a curse. If I want to understand something, I literally can't sleep till I understand it. So when I first, that made me curious when I was young. I don't know how old I was. So I've been studying the body since a kid. This was my hobby, what I was always interested in. This is something I like to do. Like kids like to play video games. I like to figure out how the body works. So that was one of the first things I wanted to learn was, why does weed make you have appetite? And then I find out it's crazy. Oh, wow. Weed makes you get an appetite by stimulating melanin concentrating hormone in your brain. I'm like, hold on. So melanin got something to do with weed? And wait a minute, hold on. So then I started getting deeper and I find out, oh, wow. Melanin has something to do with your whole entire get high system. In fact, your reward track in your brain, all of that whole dopamine cascade is produced by neuromelanated brain cells. That's that whole process. Your whole reward system is a melanin based system. All throughout your body, wherever you have melanocytes, you have receptors for opium because your body produces its own opioids. That's a part of the proprio-melanocortin complex where melanin stimulating hormone comes from. You have your own endorphins made in your brain. So all of these things, like I said, if we don't understand these things and what's going on, but before I transition, I just want to add this piece to it. If we don't understand these things, this is how we wind up more susceptible to crack. This is how we wind up more susceptible to certain street drugs because we don't know that our body has more or less of an affinity with certain chemicals. This is how we wind up athletes, 27 years old, millionaires, they supposed to be enjoying their life. Instead, they grabbing their chest falling down on the field because they listening again to goofballs fresh out of college, waving around their degree saying, don't listen to Enqi, he making up shit. Melanin is not real science. I got Q Butter on video saying melanin is not real science. Meanwhile, I just showed y'all that melanin controls your very heartbeat. So when you got people that's telling you that they know science and they saying melanin is not real science, but we have an epidemic where our people are dying. And these are the triggers, right? Let me go even deeper. Let me go even deeper. Oh shit, that's on my other computer. Damn. All right, I could just tell y'all and y'all can look it up. But angiotensin, right? So angiotensin, which is at the center of, okay, yeah, let me use, yeah, boom. I can probably find some stuff here, but I wanted to show you, all right, so angiotensin, this is at the center of the pandemic, right? Angiotensin, and y'all may not know angiotensin, right? But aldosterone secretion, this is what deals with your blood pressure, right? So this is one of the main things that we're dealing with right now. Why? Because this is the story of what's going on. So now what we're dealing with is even post-infection or post-vaccine, there are residual effects called long COVID. This is not anything that's being made up. All of this is actual information that we can just tap in. Look, we could just tap in and see, wait a minute, Enqi said COVID is causing diabetes. Look, they're linked. But researchers haven't established that the virus can cause diabetes. If you have COVID, even a mild case, your chances of getting diabetes in the initial year after infection are higher than those who don't have the virus. So this is where they at right here. This is not something that we making up. This is everywhere. And if we don't understand how this affects us, this is why we vulnerable. Now, let me show you how this affects us. Let's go back to that thing we talked about. Now, let's just erase that and type in this. Bang. You see how that functions? Angiotensin regulates melanin in your body. Now, let me put 2 and 2 together for y'all really briefly. Right? Let me put 2 and 2 together for y'all really briefly. Angiotensin regulates melanin. I showed y'all melanin literally initiating the pacemaker cells. Like, that's not something we read. We actually saw the melanin regulating the pacemaker cell. So now, if I have some way to upregulate or downregulate the behavior of the melanin, I can upregulate or downregulate the electrical stimulation of your heart, which means I can cause your heart to suddenly stop. Now, if we don't know none of this, how do we protect ourselves? Oh, we don't. We just keep on fucking dancing and jumping and laughing and playing games until we the next person to fall down. Because when it comes to this health shit, you don't get to fall out from the cardiac arrest and then call Dr. Enqi for the right information and the right products. This is some shit you got to do in advance. You got to do that in advance so it doesn't happen. It's not a retro thing. That's the difference between the naturopathic holistic route versus the Western modality. The Western modality is about coming in after something goes wrong, right? So you fall down and scrape your knee, you come with Band-Aid and peroxide, that's Western medicine. If your parent sees you running and you're about to fall down and you hear that voice that say, hey, stop running and sit your ass down. That right there is holistic medicine because that's preventative. That's before you fell down and scraped your knee.
Excuse me. I'd like to ask a question.
Go ahead, sis.
I love this information. I want to go back to, thank you, Dr. Enqi. Everybody, please go subscribe to Dr. Enqi, follow him, any links you want. Please put them in the chat. I hope my mods can circulate them.
American Healer. If you just look up American Healer, yes. Dr. Enqi on YouTube and Dr. Enqi, yeah, I keep it simple.
Awesome. Enqi. I want to go back to melanin and marijuana. You know, there's a lot of research out there, and you notice our people everyone likes marijuana, but our people, I've had some information I've seen about melanin and what is it, melanogenesis with cannabinoids. Can you talk to us more about, does the use of marijuana, I should say, does the use of, and I don't know if I should even say marijuana, let's say Jane, does the use of Mary Jane affect melanin production? Because from what I've seen,
absolutely. Hold on, absolutely.
It does increase.
Fill me up.
Hit it up. Hit. Let us know. Let us know.
No, definitely. No. I was looking at Chase. He looking at me crazy. I
does using marijuana, Mary Jane, increase or decrease the melanogenesis, the production of melanin?
So it absolutely plays a role in your melanogenesis because melanin, again, stimulates melanin concentrating hormone. That's how, not melanin, marijuana stimulates melanin concentrating hormone. So it absolutely.
You can just use Rick James' term, Mary Jane.
Yeah, Mary Jane. Or cannabis, rather. You know what I'm saying? More scientifically correct, right? So cannabis is the legal term. Weed and all that other stuff gets you arrested still. So just so y'all know that at home, while y'all talking about it's legal, use cannabis, save your term, practice that. But so with the cannabis, the Mary Jane, but those are two separate things, right? So the effect that it has on the melanin production, concentration, stimulation, etc., that's separate from the endocannabinoid system. The endocannabinoid system is more part of the inflammatory system, right? And so, you have your CB1, your CB2 receptors. Not only is that a part of your inflammatory system, but it actually has a lot to do with the information transfer to your white blood cell system so that they kind of know.
Enqi, I know you get sick of me interrupting, but you know I'm here for you.
Cool.
I'm your alley-oop. I'm throwing them alley-oops.
I got you. Go ahead.
So Enqi, Dr. Enqi, you're gonna have to be a little bit more down layman terms because endocannabinoids. We're not talking about the ganja.
I got you. Hold on. No.
Right? I'm clarifying.
Yes. Yeah. We're talking about the conversation. We're in the conversation of it.
When we talk about endocannabinoids, aren't those occurring in breast milk?
What? That's why That's why I like to start with the basics and build that. That's why I take the long way with the answers. But
yes, but remember, you're talking to some of the people who want your information. They're not scientific.
No, I got you. That's why I'm building up. That's why I'm building to it.
Good.
So the endocannabinoids, the basic understanding that you. Oh, you a funny guy. Get out of my room. Yeah, he don't want me to ask him to bring me no more water, so he gonna bring me multiple cups and sit it down right there and wink at me like, oh yeah, right. Get your. So, but anyway, so the so you got and this is kind of where the omega-3 and omega-6 conversation comes in, because you actually don't need cannabis for your cannabinoids in your body at all. You can get that from having the right the right ratio of omega-3 to omega-6, and then the omega-6s are going to actually take care of that cannabinoid production. But externally, we can get it from
breast milk. Sorry.
Right. Well, this is a part of your, like I said, this is a part of your internal production. This comes from omega-3 and omega-6. Those are your fatty acids. And when you make breast milk is primarily composed of fatty acids. A lot of what breast milk is fats, but it's healthy fats for the baby to develop their brain and nervous system. Most of our brain is sugar and fat. You know what I'm saying? So that's an important thing. And so that's why, like our mind as men is hardwired to look at women's butt and their hips and be attracted to that, because that's where women primarily store the fat that's gonna turn into your baby's brain and nervous system. So that's just like that, like if there's big hips and booty, then the woman has enough fat, healthy fat, to convert into a smart baby. If you don't have a woman that has healthy fat, she's gonna have to go on a diet of high fat when she's trying to, have that baby and develop that baby inside her, and then develop the milk subsequently after she has the birth. But there's definitely fat that's needed. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you something before I forget. Is black seed oil just as good as the algae? Because I would forget.
No, Robin. He's going to continue this, and then
I didn't just
completely opposite of what he's talking about.
Well, I'm asking.
So let him finish what he's talking, because this is important. He's talking on the weed, and then we will get to black seed oil. 100%. That's a totally different.
I don't know, but we talked about weed, but okay.
No, but he's talking about the fat and
here's how we could bridge the gap. Here's how we could bridge the gap, because so with the black seed oil, black seed has, I guess, and maybe that's where it might have triggered Sister Freedom to come in with the question, because there's a lot of fatty acids. There has a rich fatty acid profile, like the omega-7s, and not like the omega family goes beyond 3 and 6. Even omega-3 has subcategories, EPA, DHA, like, so it's a larger conversation, but we just hear that so much, omega-3, omega-6. But black seed oil has some good, but it's an oil. So it's a fatty acid.
Yeah, we're talking about producing cannabinoids in your body.
What he's saying, what you saying?
So it's an oil that if you consume it, like a lot of the other rich oils, even the botana oil, and the palm oil, the red African palm oil specifically, like just palm oil in general, but that red African palm oil, that's really rich in like vitamin A's and some of those things. And a lot of fatty acids as well. You know what I'm saying? But you don't want the saturated. You want the unsaturated, so it's at room temperature. But the type of oil is not going to, it's the ratio that's most specific when we're dealing with the conversion of fatty acids into your cannabinoids. It's not necessarily about like going to the supermarket, getting the most expensive olive oil or coconut or this one or that one. It's just how much omega-3 did you get versus how much omega-6. And primarily you need to have 4 times as much omega-3 as you do omega-6. And that will create the right ratio to create the all of the anti-inflammatory cannabinoids. But hit the share screen real quick so I can pull up some of this stuff, and then hopefully that like makes it make a little bit more sense, because a lot of times people just be waiting around to hear when it's time to buy something. And I
Well, I
don't teach.
don't do that, but I'm focused on this for
No, not you guys.
Robin.
I'm saying the audience.
I want to focus on it for Robin, Dulcinea, the audience. What I wanted him to speak on is the cannabinoid production in the body, and it's especially concentrated in breast milk. It's very crucial. I
Yes.
mean, yes, we all produce it, but the mother is the one that becomes a food source of very crucial
Well, here's how it goes.
melanin producing or anything else, brain building, and it's with the
It actually
cannabinoids.
goes back around to the light system, because your inflammatory system has to be, it's like the sanitary system. It's a part of the sanitary system, works with the white blood cells. That's going to make sure you have a certain type of tissue to work with. Now, that's going to need to be seeded with vitamin A. I know this sounds crazy to think of it this way, but inside your body, this is what vitamin A does. Vitamin A actually seeds your tissues for the pigment cells to do their thing. So vitamin A is crucial early on in the development of your baby, because if you don't have the vitamin A, the fatty acids and things won't. So that's where all of this stuff meets, is because you need other things so you're going to need vitamin A and magnesium in order for the cannabinoids to even do their job. You need all of those pieces to come together. And that's
But that happens in breast milk naturally.
absolutely.
And that's why a lot of
if mom is eating the right stuff, and if mom takes it serious, you know what I'm saying? But if we just,
that's why a lot of women become very mineral deficient and essential vitamin deficient, because it's all pulled in that vitamin A or vitamin. So I'm just letting sisters know the power that your body has.
That's a fact.
Every man and women have power. We do produce endocannabinoids, right?
Yep.
But the breast milk is a food source. When we talk about CMOS, moringa, and all these other things, breast milk is one of the is an amazing ambrosia.
And listen, it's good for men too. Listen, don't like let your lady waste the breast milk. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of times where she's going to be making breast milk and the baby is not going to get it. Do not let all that breast milk go into them breast pads. Like, fellas, y'all got to drink that while it's available. that's really good.
No, really, and people hear you say that, Enqi, and they think it's a joke. No, this is talk about breast milk.
Yeah, breast, but you can only get the breast milk, like you got to enjoy it while it's there. You know what I'm saying? Breast milk is incredibly healthy, so you obviously don't want to mess with the baby supply, but don't let no breast milk go to waste. You know what I'm saying? Like, period, fellas, you need to be drinking that. And fellas, this is a great way to honor your lady and help stimulate, so
production.
Man.
Can I have a question, and it's related, but once you're done and everything, I want, because I have a lot of relation to this topic. So I did want to ask, when it comes to children with developmental, like what they deem as issues, autism and different things like that, do you have any connection with the minerals or these kind of things as far as with helping them and the melanin? I have a son that's actually autistic, or he's been registered as autistic, and he's nonverbal. So is there any things like this that is going to help the vitamin A or any kind of the fatty acids that really build up on the brain and causing that links?
So one of the things is the processed meat. So I'm just grabbing an article on the fly, but I want people to be able to go into this on their own and just go a little bit deeper down this rabbit hole, because it's a lot of data out there. What are y'all doing? Okay, yeah. It's a lot of data out there already on this now. The information on the microbiome and autism and some of those things, you got a lot of contradictory information out there. But with the processed meat and with the processed meat, there is a lot of concrete evidence out there that when a mother is pregnant, the higher concentration of consuming processed meat boosts the chances that the baby can be autistic. So there's not a thing that you could put your finger on, but there's a lot of smaller things that they have information. So as parents, what we want to do is eliminate as many things as we can eliminate and control as many controls as possible and try to stop the horse from getting out the gate. Planning, like I was going to say earlier, planning, like I have 10, I have 10 babies. So I know how it goes. You know what I'm saying? I know how it goes, the old school way and the new school.
And none of them are autistic?
New school though, we want to try to plan our babies.
Are they vaccinated?
I don't do the status of my babies online, but
my point is I'm saying for sisters who are trying to model after you and brothers and sisters.
Well, no, this is what you would do, because this is my advice with vaccines, right? This is what I always say when it comes to vaccines. Vaccines are and should be a personal choice. I never want my decision or my opinion to influence somebody's freedom of choice on vaccine. And I'm gonna tell you why. Nobody else has to live with what happens next but you and your family.
Right.
So only you and your family should, like when we look at, for instance, if we go to the VAR's website, and I did this when I was, going back and forth with the Amin Ra Goof Troop. I pull up the VAR's. That's the website the government has where you actually see, that's the government website for, when vaccines go wrong, anybody that's damaged or injured by a vaccine, it gets reported to the VAERS website. I think that's how you spell it. And they keep all the statistics there. And, if you're looking at one person per 100 or one person per 1,000 getting injured, when you hear those types of numbers, it's like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, it must be cool. Yeah, but what if you that one person? How does everybody else's health that killed your baby, like, you don't care if it made 100 other people better, but then your baby is paralyzed for, like, so what I promote always is study. What I always promote is, making well-informed decision. If you make a well-informed decision, if it go bad for you or it go good for you, you don't have any reason to regret. You're not going to have the regret because you did your best at the time. But if you don't know what you're doing and you don't take the time to look into it and you just go ahead and put that in your kid body, like even with getting a shot, you know what I'm saying? Which one did you get? Did you get mRNA, or did you get the Johnson & Johnson? Like, there's so many different nuances to it. It's like,
Right. I don't want to talk about that too much, but I appreciate that. I'm talking mostly on, let's get back to brain development, because what I've seen that these inoculations, these vaccines, the brain development doesn't come from it directly affecting the neurological side of the being, the person. It doesn't affect the neurology first. Primarily, and I'm going to hand this over to you, another alley-oop, it affects the gut. And the gut the absorption of all of these great things that you're talking about, Dr. Enqi, it's impossible. So then the brain starts to be affected by that. So can you continue on about what you're talking about, fat and everything, but talk about gut. I want to tie gut into this and how crucial it is with as far as brain development and emotion, and why so many people are crazy with their diet. Because I know you're dying to talk about meat.
Here's the thing with the diet. With me, I don't necessarily stress people to be vegan as much as I stress people to focus on pigment and fiber. So the people
are we going back to diet though?
Well, no, I got you. Hold on. Because the brain development in an early fetus is going to be like super dependent on what your body reserve nutrition is and what you're eating.
You mean what the mother's body reserve nutrition?
Right. Yeah. As the mom. So the primary drivers of neurological development, just to simplify it, is going to be your iodine,
which is diet.
Yes, your iodine, your vitamin A, your fatty acid, your DHA. Like those are the three primary things that you're going to need to build up the brain. Your vitamin A, your iodine, and your DHA. Those
How did we get that? How do we get that?
Well, blue magic. But no, you get the iodine.
But what do we do with blue magic? We eat it, right?
So yes, it's a gel, and what you do with the gel is it's good for me as a parent. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these guys with the herb stuff, right? They selling these $1,000 packages, $1,500 packages, and that's why earlier I bring my children into the conversation only to speak to pricing. I have to ball on a budget raising these children by myself with no help. You can't really play around with just the philosophical ideas of nutrition without bringing it into the real world of what your purse and your wallet going to look like. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of goofy niggas online that don't really take care of their children. That's why I don't like to be mentioned with these niggas, because you got a lot of these dudes. They online and they talking this shit that they talking, but they talking from their bedroom in their mama house. Or these niggas got child support $25 a month and they in arrears, but they collecting big time Cash App donations and shit like that. Niggas got 100,000 hours of footage online, and in none of those videos do you see them with their kids. And I'm trying to figure out, how is it that the conscious community is built around supporting so many people that don't take care of their children or prioritize? Like, I just don't understand what it is that we're building, because where the money go is where, and all of these ideas have to be built into the framework of consciousness. Because if you're selling $1,500 herb packages, you clearly don't know that it's mostly single parents out here. And real niggas is not going to go buy alkaline nutrition, alkaline vitamins, and then come home with Happy Meals for the babies. That's not how you do that. You don't go get yourself a kale salad and a sea moss smoothie, and then you giving the children Happy Meals and Franks and Pop-Tarts and shit. That's not how that go. If your ass got an alkaline platter with an alkaline drink and all that, then your baby's supposed to have it. Your pet's supposed to have it. You're supposed to make sure the whole house got a standard of living. So I can't buy me a $1,500 herb package unless I could buy all 5 of my children a $1,500 herb package. Now we're talking about, $5,000 a month for herb packages. Now who got that? That's not even realistic. A lot of people in the community don't even make $60,000 a year after taxes, let alone got $60,000 a year to play with these goofy niggas online talking about they selling them some herbs for it, right? So one of the things, and I'm saying all that to say, one of the things that I had to take in consideration with the blue magic was budget. So what I did was I looked at a lot of, like, what did we need? And then how could we go about getting it? So I want to say the top 25 herbs of Dr. Sebi's list, we took that and we incorporated that into the blue magic, so that people don't have to pay $1,000 to $1,500 to sometimes $2,000 to get these herbs. You can get them all in the blue magic for less than $100. And then this is how you feed your whole family and keep this circulating in their blood. Because if you can't keep the herbs in the blood, you just wasted your money. And what I'm saying is this, I say it a different way. If you could only afford to buy this big ass expensive herb package one time, but you can't afford to keep on buying it, you wasting your money, because that's not how your body works. Your body don't develop based on some shit that you eat once or twice. Your body's going to develop around the things that you eat consistently. So that means if you never smoke cigarettes, but you have yourself a couple of cigarettes, be guilt-free. Don't worry about having a couple of cigarettes. If you eat good all year and you went to your mama house on Thanksgiving and you had yourself some pure fucker, don't you worry about what you had on that Thanksgiving, because that's one day. It's what you ate the 364 other days that's going to determine your health outcome. See what I'm saying? It's what you do consistently. So if you can't afford to keep the herbs in your diet and your children every day, right? Your vitamin A is going every 24 hours. Your water soluble vitamins, your B vitamins, your C vitamins. Well, every time you get stressed, your B vitamins gone. If you pee too many times in a day, your B vitamins gone. If you sweat, your B vitamins gone. Like, how you replacing them? You woke up and you had a multivitamin. Then you went to the gym. Okay, now what happened after the gym? You took a shower and broke out. No, you lost mad nutrient. You went to the gym and drank water afterwards. Well, how did you replace all the minerals that came out in your sweat? All the amino acids you broke down with the catabolic. Like, how did you replace that? All of the lactic acid damage and buildup. How did you fix? Like, how did you do? I don't know. What's lactic acid? How do I get that? Where do I buy that? No, you don't buy that. You get rid of that. That builds up in your muscle tissue from using up all the like, these are just things, like I said, that people have to address. You know what I'm saying? If they want to be optimally healthy, but we're not interested in our community. The problem that we have is we don't study this information for real. And what other communities do that we don't is we don't financially get behind the people doing the work for us. There is nobody that has the actual framework of how melanin, literally, I showed y'all shit that nobody, I'm literally showing you the melanin in the heart cell under the microscope, controlling the pacemaker cell and then breaking, like, that's what we need to understand right there. And nobody else is going to do that for us. So while we're waiting for that to come out, who has a vested interest in that? Let me go back to the share screen so I could prove my point real quick with a scientific paper. Because everything got to be demonstrated. So let me go back here and show you that what the information is now. Cardiac melanocytes. Again, let me see what pop up. Okay.
Okay, while you look up that information, shout out to Brother Gate. I don't want to mess your name up, Gate, but I've spoken. This is a good friend of Brother Divine Prospect. But shout out to everybody. I love this bill. It's very awesome. It's very informative. But we need to speak on. I talked to you before, Dr. Enqi, on.
I just want to just show this. When you look,
yeah, I know you can show it, but I dropped the link.
Yeah.
I'm letting people please come in, ask any question you want to ask Dr. Enqi. Dr. Enqi, I'm sharing that, but I want you to go into when we can start producing these things on our own. You talked about adenosine triphosphate briefly. Mm-hmm. I spoke to you in 2019 about us producing our own. How do you say it? We produce adenosine triphosphate. I know this sounds far-fetched, but how far away are we from the science when we find out how to tap into, the photosynthesis in plants? They produce, they're self-sufficient, basically. I like to speak for the layman. I believe that there's a great connection in sunlight and us producing. I'm gonna jump out the window, everything we need, including essential vitamins. I know that sounds
no. Well, some things we can and some things we can't. So, like, the main thing that we have to depend on the plants for is the plants are actually the source of our body producing pigment. So if nothing else, like say for instance, we could get everything from light, the thing we can't get is the pigment that we need to absorb the light. So we would still have
I
to go
disagree with that. That's where you and I disagree, respectfully.
Yeah.
But go on.
Well,
But let me tell you why. Enqi. Because I believe we can get the sunlight and we work on our own melanin, and the plants do the same thing. We don't need their pigment. We
No. Let me
need
show you.
their essential vitamins.
I got you. Let me show you. Hit the share screen real quick so you see what I'm saying.
Yeah, this is great. I love it. Thank you. Please hit the like. And yes, brother, please reach out. Hit me up. I've been wanting to interview you with all the work you do. Definitely.
So here's the Shiki well, as a mnemonic device to remember it. I always think in my mind Daishiki and I think Ma'at. Dashiki and Ma'at is what I have in my mind as a mnemonic device. Is just a trick to help your brain remember stuff. So the Shiki Ma'at pathway is basically in plants. People don't have this. We don't have this pathway in our body. This is how the plants produce aromatic amino acids. So those specific amino acids are the tryptophan, the phenylalanine, and the tyrosine. So those are the 3 amino acids. Well, not the 3 because you can get the phenylalanine, but you need these from the plants, the Shiki Ma'at pathway to give us. And this is where all of our pigments. This is the key in the pigments, the aromatic amino acids. Basically, what they have is this hexagonal head, which allows them to absorb light. And so it's this ring here that actually allows the pigments to interact with light. So all of your pigments are going to have tyrosine or tryptophan or some combination of the 2 all throughout the tapestry. And that's where the ability to convert light and electricity and sound is these aromatic amino acids. And the craziest thing is this is the part of the food that is attacked. Like this is the part of your food system that's attacked when they put the fertilizers and stuff. The fertilizers attack this. So when you put the fertilizers on the plants, it attacks the Shiki Ma'at pathway, and that's what makes the plants get like if you got plants in your backyard and you spray the weed killer on them, if you notice the plants start turning yellow before they die in the places that you sprayed, like wherever the actual poison hits the leaf, that's going to turn yellow quick, and you'll see it because it destroys the pigment. So these things target pigment. So this is why the pigmented people have to be more on top of this information, because you got to know there's certain chemicals out there that's just retardant to pigment. And the more pigment you have, the more your homeostasis revolves around that pigment, right? Which is the thing that we was just looking at, because the scientific papers have already established that the more external pigment you have, the more pigment you have in these organs. So somebody really dark like me, I'm gonna have more melanin in my heart than somebody else. So any issue.
Where's that study? Because I'm interested in finding out about light-skinned people who have a lot of eumelanin.
You said you mean pheomelanin?
Neuromelanin in the mind, in the brain.
Yeah, neuromelanin. Okay, yeah, neuromelanin. Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
Because there are light-skinned people who have a lot of neuromelanin. So you kind of said that like something that is opposite of that, right? Because I'm really, this is fascinating, awesome information. Is it true? I mean, like, what about the people who are light-skinned, but they have a high concentration of neuromelanin?
The neuromelanin is separate. So you can be dark skin or light skin and have like your neuromelanin is going to be separate from your pheo and like your external skin melanin. That's going to be something totally different.
But you were talking about if I see a dark skinned brother like you, and
Yes.
I have a dark color, Robin, Dulcinea, we would say that we would know our organs have high content of melanin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. What are you looking up, Dr. Enqi?
Right here, so you can read it from PubMed. We found that melanocytes were localized in the valves and septa. Moreover, the number of melanocytes in the heart appears to reflect that of the skin. So the more you have in the skin, the more you're going to have in the heart. And this is from, the National Library of Medicine for the folks that like to have, they need to have all the references. That's why I said we keep everything on the, the up and up when we deal with the information. Melanin is real science. Anybody that's telling you, like Q Butter, that melanin is not real science does not know real science.
Let's talk to you about that debate, because we're coming up on the 2-hour mark. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here, listening to this awesome information. Dr. Enqi, you're always good. You always help open the minds. You do conventional science in an unconventional way. I want to say,
like
you source up.
That's a bar.
No, because you source up, but then you go with your background. I want to ask you, God is light. Get your information up, but we're going to close out with you talking about God is light.
I did want to ask him a question before this.
Please go ahead, Robin.
Hit the share screen while she asked me her question, so you can see this. Like, because I want people to see the microscope work. Like, we're gonna look at live melanin. While you asking me your question, I'm gonna just be going through these live melanin, so we can see melanin and real melanin science. Melanin is real science. But go ahead, sister.
Enqi, I heard you mention something about magnesium, and my doctor had told me that most people, and he said that a lot of people of color don't realize they have a magnesium deficiency. Magnesium deficiency.
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
Oh my God, it's super problematic because
that's what you were telling me. That's the question I was going to ask you.
Yeah, magnesium. No, magnesium plays a big role in what we're talking about, all the stuff that's going on, because magnesium is the opposite in your body of as calcium. So calcium makes all the muscles contract, but magnesium is what makes the muscles relax. And magnesium couples with vitamin K to clean all of your arteries. So when you have magnesium and vitamin K, it's going to take all the calcium that builds up in your arteries, and it's going to push that calcium back into the bones. So you hear people talk about, like, when you eat acidic stuff, or if you got acid building up, your body will pull minerals from the bones to neutralize and blah, 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 blah. Which is true, but what happens is those minerals wind up lodged in your tissues. And then because they lodged in your tissues, you get hardening. And then that's where you start to get some of the circulatory and blood pressure and heart issues. The magnesium and the vitamin K push that back into the bones and clear up and soften the tissues. Now, that also goes back around to what Sister was saying, because your people that are lacking in, say, necessarily not eating greens, for instance. Well, we don't realize that in the center of the greens, right, the chlorophyll to do the photosynthesis, is magnesium. So magnesium is a large part of the magic of light conversion or nutrient conversion also. We don't realize that we hear a lot of things about magnesium. So you hear about magnesium working with calcium in the muscles, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's cool. Some people don't know it, but a lot of people have heard about it. We hear about, you know, anywhere from 600 to 2,000 different enzymes that require magnesium, right? Now, in this picture right here, just real quick, you see melanocytes dividing and joining back up together. I'm showing melanocytes and melanin on a lot of different types of cameras. But anyway, so you hear about the enzymes that need magnesium, but what you very seldomly hear about magnesium is that magnesium is required for nutrients to get into the cell. So like even earlier when we was talking about ATP, your cells can't even use ATP without magnesium. So if you produce all the ATP in the world, but you're magnesium deficient, your cells won't be able to even process that ATP because it needs ATP to metabolize. Like that's the thing that allows things to become bioavailable, is magnesium. So you need magnesium for a host of reasons. You know what I'm saying? So all of these little key different things are going to wind up, you know, making or breaking you.
What's the best magnesium you recommend? There's so many different kinds.
Greens.
And magnesium is another electrolyte. Let's not leave that out.
It's absolutely another one of the electrolyte family. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. But all of these different things, they got so many different jobs. You know what I'm saying? But I gotta show these stuff because people talking this crazy stuff about melanin. It's not real science. I'm like, hold on. I don't know what labs and clinic. I don't know what human studies y'all. This is. I'm gonna show it real time. I'm gonna show it like you. Like this ain't. We don't even play with this kind of thing here. Like this is. We go all the way with this thing here. You know, this is how we are changing people's health. This is how we get rid of diabetes and reversing cancer by understanding how your body work at this level. And this is where the whole process takes place. This is
Talk to us. I'm jumping in because we don't have a lot of time. You said electrical. That's why I'm going back to electrolytes. Talk to us about electromagnetic radiance, light, and how it affects our body functions, and how it is also a part of your. Talk to us about your debate. I need you to touch on your debate.
Man, you know what? We might have to come back. We might have to come back because we done went so crazy. But so here's the basis, right? You can start here with because we actually already been having the conversation all night of electromagnetism in the body, but we'll make it plain so it's more pronounced, right? We already were looking at the heart. The heart runs on electricity, right?
Yes,
so
the SA.
Right. So the first thing before we even get further off, you just need to know, keep in mind always, the rudimentary basic relationship between electricity and magnetism. When you have electricity, you're going to have magnetism. When you have electromagnetism, you're going to have some form of light, whether it's visible or not, right? So when we have that understanding, we know that the nerves conduct ions. This produces electric current. We know that the brain cells, the axons, produce electromagnetic waves. Specifically, they produce light. This is just what it is. This is how we think, right? You have a gradient in the axon of light. You got electromagnetic waves in the axon that's converted into your neurotransmitters and released into the synapse. So this is electric action. So we have billions and trillions of pieces of iron, right? So that's magnetism, right? So we establish electricity and magnetism already if we understand iron in the blood, ion flow, or how the brains work, or we looked at the pacemaker in the heart. All of that's electrical. If we look at phosphates, we talked about phosphorus and how phosphorus is oxidized and produces light. So we already actually have a wide plethora of documented electrical phenomena in the body, right? If we look at how we look at the brain and we look at brain activity. Like we literally put a person on an MRI machine and we could tell how their brain is working by what areas are lighting up, right? So we already have a plethora of information that's already there. It's just a matter of understanding that these things work together and it's based in our nutrition, because you don't have the electric potentials and gradients produced if you don't have the minerals, right? That's going to really be how your body maintains a lot of electromagnetic and radiant activity. That's going to all be mineral stuff. But the fabric of your body, the things that's going to use, harness, and hold those minerals are going to be your amino acid complexes, your bones, your tissues, all of that stuff is amino acid based.
Wait a minute, I gotta jump in.
Yes, ma'am.
Now we're talking and we're going into proteins. And I was, I process and I sit and listen and I meditate. People like, you're falling asleep. No, I process I go into this trance, like when the information is really good.
I do the same thing. Yeah.
So I want to say,
I space out. Yeah, I'm with you.
You space out, and then I have a bunch of dummies. Oh, I saw her fall asleep. How am I falling asleep if I know what I'm talking about? Because you're getting some good stuff in. It goes back to spirit and light, and I can't see how we can discount. Wait a minute. This is deep, Dr. Enqi. I teach about material. Everything is physical. Spirit is physical. We talk metaphysical. We talk about the material, with even the quantum level. Stay with me. Then you're talking about proteins. I know everything is material, but really, in essence, with worship, it's flesh, meat, flesh. It really focuses on the material. Why do I say that? Because then you're going into proteins when you talk about amino acids, right? And if you're talking about amino acids. See, for me, I would think, okay, the light in the body, the light that is God.
Let me show you. I got you.
How does it become?
Let's start here. Look,
on flesh?
Hit the share screen. Let's start here. This is where we
How
start.
does it become dependent on flesh? I'm in the share screen.
The first thing is it starts with the breath.
Oh, come on. I love it. I love it. Mute out.
We don't understand how far this light thing goes, right? So our breath, literally our breath, every time we breathe in light. Every time we breathe out, we exhale light.
Enqi.
The whole idea.
I did a lesson on ether. I said we breathe in God.
See, listen, this is the reason why they could play games with other folks, but they can't play games with me, because I don't have to have a belief in my God. My God is bigger than belief. We're not even operating in that world right there. See, and a lot of times it's only language that separates our understanding, because people are looking for certain types of words. So we might have somebody that's well studied in a space, but not able to convert it like to the science part where a certain group of people is going to need it to be put in front of their face a certain type of way. So I'm good at being able to really translate. And that comes from my angle though. Like a lot of these guys grew up and they wasn't a part of consciousness. They not a part of, like, they never was around this stuff. They got conscious and first heard about Elijah Muhammad or this or that or Sabi or vegan. They heard about this on YouTube. They didn't live this. Their parents didn't take them to conscious lectures when they was 5 years old or 10 years old. They not from this. They don't know nothing about this. So it's foreign to them. It's not something that they've lived and breathed in. It's a part of so for me, it's second nature. Because I grew up reading textbooks. I didn't, my dad wouldn't really, let me read the fiction as much. He was like, you're going to read, you got to read nonfiction. So here we could go right to the scientific papers. And this is the Journal of Biological Chemistry. It doesn't get any more official. and it's showing you that the human breath is full of light. Now, that's an old, because this is March 25th of 1983. Now, if we need something new, we can go here where the scientists are discovering exactly how the oxygen absorbs the light that it carries in and out of your body when you breathe it. So we can go, and this is an article from April 9th, 2018. See, this is the thing that they can't really, they get boxed in with this right here. And then this is where we go somewhere else. And then we got the reverse process. We got light being used to create oxygen in the blood, right? And again, this is from nature.com. This one of the most quote unquote highly respected scientific journals, because light and oxygen have this relationship with each other, right? And the real thing about oxygenating the blood is what? Adding electrons to the blood, adding electricity to the blood. Well, we know from the photoelectric effect that light is able to do that. The thing that that these guys are famous for, and now they're going to get $1 billion off this, is because for a long time they was trying to figure out how to apply the photoelectric effect to the human body. And now they've been successful. So they're developing, medical treatments from being able to just use light and put oxygen in the blood. You know what I'm saying? So people that have lungs and their lungs can't breathe no more, they're just going to change the type of light that the people is in. And without even using your lungs to breathe, the sun is going to put light. It's going to put oxygen directly into your blood. See, this is, again, this ain't Dr. Enqi making it up. Because see, when it comes from Dr. Enqi, they're going to say, well, he got purple cornrows and gold teeth. Clearly, he don't. I mean, how can you be a real doctor with purple cornrows and gold teeth? I'm like, you practicing reverse racism on your own people. You putting stereotypes on your own people. Your education.
Dr. Enqi, I need to jump in. This is phenomenal information.
Look. I want to give you this last piece right here, because these goofballs, right? This is the thing that they can't deal with. When you pull this out, this is the grand opening, grand closing, because physics is the study of matter. And they'll tell you in a heartbeat, oh, well, light, photons doesn't have mass. It's not really considered, blah, blah, blah. Well, here we go. Now the scientists have all agreed that all matter comes from light. And this is the reason that they have the Hadron Colliders and all that, is because they want to be able to reproduce God. They want to replace God. So they want to be able to make matter from light. And that's the purpose of having these particle colliders. And if you look here, they have already successfully done it. So there is not a thing of, oh, wait a minute, can you prove that light can make react? That light can make things that we can see, feel, and touch, because light is not solid and da 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 da. You can only have them conversations and wave around your degree when you're talking to people that don't know no better. But when you're talking to people that understand this, look, and this is why, again, Einstein's equation is the one that is used to create matter from light. So anybody that's quoting Albert Einstein, that's telling you that light is somehow not real science or that you can't get matter from light, they don't know what they're reading. Q Butter and Unc specifically are famous for waving around books that they have not read. So don't let somebody waving around a book make it seem like they know what's inside the book. Anybody can wave a book. I'm gonna need y'all to crack them damn books open and stop flashing books that's brand new. Because when you read a book, a science book, you got to use highlighters, ink pens. You got to damn near tear that book up to get the information out of there. Stop waving around brand new books on the goddamn internet, making these people believe y'all are students, y'all are studious people at home. Y'all don't read them books. Y'all just buying them books, decorating your house and shit.
Okay, let's take it off, but let's not go down that path when we're closing out, because this is phenomenal information. This is awesome information. Dr. Enqi, we're gonna. No, I didn't. Unfortunately, no one hit the link, but and Robin had some questions. that you answered, Dulcinea. This information on light and science and God. I mean, I need to build with you on this. Maybe not on a sit down.
The most difficult pieces that people always try to ridicule is, can God know everything? Can God be everywhere? Can God see everything? Well, if you understand the nature of light as information, if light is information, there is no information created that light doesn't, it is the information. So if light is information, light is obviously all knowing because it is it. You can't, it's no information that exists outside of light. Period. So that's where that comes from. There is no place in the universe.
This, right.
In theory, and I'm gonna pass it right to you, Sister Freedom. In theory, they say that there are places in the universe where there's no light, but they have not been able to provide proof of that. Just like gravity, they have not been able to prove gravity. Einstein is famous because Einstein was the guy who destroyed Isaac Newton's sciences.
And Einstein has recently been destroyed. There are two quantum physicists. Yes, come on. He's wrong. Spooky.
That's right.
Spooky.
Go ahead. You got it. Go ahead. Go in. Yeah, because that's the right. That's it. Yeah. They got to
close out, Robin.
When they putting their stock in this shit from 100 years ago, that's what I'm saying. If this ain't something that you do all the time and you up to date, you can't deal. You on some shit from 1914 that I'm sorry.
The theory of relativity is off. But let me talk to Dr. Enqi about coming back. I want to say thank you for being here. We're 10 minutes over. I'm excited. This information, you have me zoning into my bow. You have me like, I love talking to you, Brother Enqi, Dr. Enqi. I want to bring you back in.
Presentation you did with Killer Priest too.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Killer Priest Podcraft.
Shout out to Killer Priest. That was a dope presentation you did over there.
Did you watch it? You watched it, right?
Yeah, I watched a lot of it. I ain't see the whole joint, but you was going in. I definitely appreciated the taking over there. Yeah.
I think we need to have a forum of like non-conventional. We can be called alchemists. Darkest minds of the light. You know, alchemy was the original science, but I don't want to get too deep. Dr. Enqi, please let the people know where they can find you, your research. And, you know, I know you said it before, but there's a long video.
Yep. AmericanHealer.website. Also, Dr. Enqi _ on Instagram. Yeah, my Instagram is where I have a little bit more fun at because my YouTube page is like, I only got like 6 followers, and that's including the 5 people you see on here, or the 4 people you see here now. I got my 6 followers as they shut my shit down, and I start fresh. But that's that happens, you know what I'm saying? So come on over there, AmericanHealer.website. I mean, American Healer YouTube. That's the YouTube page. Check out the documentary. The documentary's out. That really goes into a lot more of the application of the information, where you have people giving testimonies about how this information has allowed them to change their life, change their family members' lives, like the application part. You know what I'm saying? It's a long documentary though, so you need to situate your situation. You know what I'm saying? It's about 4 hours. You know what I'm saying? But it's a really good watch. It's free. I didn't sell it. I put it out to the people for free. Yeah, I'm out here. I'm around. I'm in these streets.
And can we reach out to you directly from the website or the Instagram?
Oh yeah, or you can just I'm regular though, so people could just shoot me a text message 586-298-5000. 586-298-5000. So people could text me. I like text because I never miss a text. Meaning, I mean, you could still miss a text, but the text message kind of sits there. So if you're doing something, you could just, like, if you text a question, if I can't get to it right then, I'm gonna answer that question, whether it's 4 a.m, the next day, whatever, and then we'll just be able to build like remote and keep it going that way. So I do that with a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? And then I've had a lot of students that I've been able to help to build not only healing, it's like I said, it's money. You know, people have created businesses that's doing better than me. You know, I got students that's on the Breakfast Club for erasing, getting rid of Angela Yee best friend fibroids. Them brothers that's on the Breakfast Club, them my students. You know what I'm saying? Ask them. That's Amsu and Amun from Georgia. One of them is 21 Savage dad. Yeah, those my students. When me and Ali Muhammad went on the road, them brothers from Atlanta was the first ones to bring us in. I didn't know at the time that was 21 Savage dad, or that they would go on to study and take it serious. Like, I still remember like yesterday when them niggas called me up, it was hilarious because they like, yo, we want to specialize in vagina. When they said that to me on the phone, I'm talking about, I was in tears cracking up because one of them super light skinned, so we be having jokes like he's one of them hairline every 2 days guys, you know what I'm saying? So when he call you up and he got the England accent, like, yo, we're thinking about focusing in on the vagina. I'm cracking the fuck up. But these brothers were super about their business, and within, I would say, about 18 months to about 2 years, they was knocking out fibroids left and right to the point where I stopped messing with it as much, and I would just direct women to them like, yo, go hit up Amsu and Amun in Georgia. They rocking them fibroids. Ooh. I don't know where they met that lady at, but they knocked her fibroids out, and it just so happened that was Angela Yee best friend. So now they've been on the Breakfast Club like 3, 4, 5 times back. You know, they up there. They regulars up there.
Well, I'd like to seriously talk about fibroids and how it ties to the mind and emotion, not actually just what doctors have been trying to find out with exploratory surgeries and things with the women.
The mind, the thoughts and the emotions actually produce actual tangible harm.
Exactly.
So when you have certain emotions, you're going to have a lot more adrenaline and cortisol based, flow throughout your body. And the main thing those things do is shut down the testosterone. So for women, that's immediately, like I was saying earlier, when you shut off the testosterone, that's going to affect the uterus and the womb immediately.
From inflammation.
That's basically like turning off your fertilizer inside your vajayjay. That literally turns off your fertilizer.
I don't know. Let me add this for you, because you're right about everything you said. When you have all these emotional things in there and adrenaline and these problems, your body starts to produce the wrong type of things. Because don't forget that as a fetus, well, before a fetus, as a zygote, you were creating yourself, body parts, you. So think of yourself as you think you're finished creating, but no, cancer is that way, not right, Brother Enqi? You start creating these material, this flesh that's not supposed to be there. You've got tumors. So the mind is creating, and the energy and the light. So yeah, I love that. We got to bring you back.
Thank
you so much.
As soon as possible. Yep, I'm down. I'm ready.
Ladies.
Thank you, ladies, for having me.
Yeah.
I know Sister Freedom getting ready to text me already. I know that text already coming.
I know it's coming from both of us. We both are gonna be like, I just like we have class tonight. I took notes, but it was so good.
I love Dulcinea. She's so studious. She's like real about hers. Dulcinea sits there and takes notes.
Me too, as well. I've been writing on different little yellow tags. But Enqi, we've been knowing each other for how many years?
Man, I don't even know.
It's been a long time. I think I had you on one of my first shows when I had not Talk Black to Me, Real Talk.
Yeah, probably.
So I had you in.
I would say probably at least 15 years now. It's probably been a long time.
A long time. It's been. I hope I still look the same.
Wait. Hold on. When I'm talking about the shows, okay, so when I'm talking about when I'm talking about Amsu and Amun, the two brothers from Atlanta, right? They brung us to Atlanta when I went out on the road with Ali. Me and Ali changed the game with this series of lectures we did, right? And how you tie into that story is that tour started in Philly, and then it went to Delaware. And the second stop was Delaware, and that's when I met you. The third stop of the tour was Atlanta, and that's where we met Amsu and Amun, and then they started doing their thing. And then when I came to Detroit, I met my guy Asa, and Asa wound up being in the same way. He wound up. Now this is only maybe meaningful to me, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody don't be into this stuff, but I watch a lot of motivational stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Oh wow!
So Les Brown is like one of my favorites. Les Brown and E.T. the hip hop preacher, and I literally live off these guys like vitamins, right? So it warmed my soul that I actually impacted their health. Now, the only thing I'm mad about is I still ain't got to meet one of these niggas yet, right? But when Les Brown was sick, he went to my student to get his, his health and life together. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Asa, you know what I'm saying? But then also E.T. the hip hop preacher, when he was getting ready to change his diet over, he went to, I won't say a student of mine, but I would say like somebody that I greatly impacted because she used to come to the classes a lot. And I used to pour into her like, yo, you got to switch it up. You got to switch it up. You got to switch it up. And she was like, nah. 2 years later, she's a vegan chef. You know what I'm saying? And she winds up being like hit me on the like the humble, like, oh yeah, E.T. is my first cousin, right? I was like, I'm gonna kill you. You know what I'm saying? Because like, how you don't tell me that? And like, that's one of my favorite, but I'm just happy in my own soul that the information has traveled to so many spaces. I got a lot of stories like that where my information travels places that I can't. And that's where
with that said,
yeah. We out of here.
I'm going to bring you back, Enqi. I'm going to bring you. I'm going to close it out right now, Robin. But I do want to do a show with you. I got to figure out where I can do a scientific show, kind of like build something. I talked to you in the background. We need to do a show. I don't want to say it too much because people are like, oh, I'm going to do it. But we need a show where you can regularly come in. As much as people try to talk about you and slander you and hold
they gotta do it.
I gotta say this, Enqi, stop. I'm gonna mute you. I'm trying to give you your flowers. Stop. Damn. Listen, we have I said this before, I'm gonna say this again. We have mainstream conventional scientists, allopathic medicine. They make tons of mistakes. There's actually a term for death by doctor. And I'm gonna mute this black man out right now. Mute him out. No one has a problem with mainstream conventional allopathic medicine. But when a brother who's doing real science, I know real science, and people who know real science know he's legitimate in what he's saying. It's excitingly cutting edge, but it's legitimate science. When he has done some things in his past, I'm not going to get into it because I don't look at it. But people always going to say, did you hear this? Did you hear about the Moringa water? You people have been, do you know about the Tuskegee experiments? People with syphilis. Do you know about clinical trials? You don't mind about conventional science. I'm not even taking color. You don't mind about mainstream multi-trillion-dollar pharmaceutical companies making mistakes on people because they're not even trying to help people. This brother may have done something where he says, I think this will help people. Oh, damn. They didn't do the right thing. They have these predisposed genetic situations, and they want to hold it over him. This brother is doing real science. So I'm going to say this to you. Hats off. Shout out to Dr. Enqi. And I'm not going to lie. He be bringing some stuff out. And I'm like, let me marinate on this and process this. Wow. This brother knows what he's talking about. So what I'm saying is I'm going to try my hardest to really regularly get you out here. Our people, all this crap about charlatans and shit. You know what the charlatan is? Johnson and Johnson.
Woo.
They have a huge lawsuit against them for causing uterine and what else? Cervical cancer. You know what? These people do their. So shout out to you, Dr. Enqi. We're going to bring this brother in. What do we have to do? But it's dangerous for you, Dr. Enqi. You can't unmute because you know your life will be on the line when you start.
Already is. That it already been. Man, I done had so many. Man, I could tell you crazy stories from post offices not shipping my stuff to people running into my lectures in the middle of my lectures with AK-47s and, you know, like threatening to shoot up the place. And like, I still teach. Shout out to the AK-47 club out in Dallas. Like, that's literally a thing that happened. They remember this event. I had an event and I was teaching about baby nutrition. It was a vegan babies lecture in Dallas, Texas. And the promoter of the event somehow wound up owing one of his security guards some money, whatever the case may be. Homeboy was trying to shoot up the lecture with an AK-47. And the people was so, I ain't gonna say so crazy, but they was so interested in the information that after the incident happened and like everybody's scared, you know, panicking and all this and all that. I'm from the Bronx, so I'm kind of used to, you know, I used to go to Rucker Park faithfully. You know what I'm saying? Like when you go to, if you was at Rucker before the big money came in, when Rucker Park was a street thing, you get used to that. Like, you know, a little bottle, a little stab, a little energy, you know, you're back to the basketball. So after, you know, I asked people, I was like, hey, everybody's going home now, right? Or we want to keep teaching. Somebody in the back said, keep teaching, fuck that. I was like, all right, hey, let's get back to the, and we went in for another few hours. And that was just like, all right, cool. Everybody that was here, y'all are all a part of the AK-47 club. We're a part of the, you know, we had, but it's been like that. I remember going to Chicago and doing lectures in Chief Keef projects where you could literally hear the gunshots outside the lecture place. You know what I'm saying? We had dope fiends literally nodding off in the back of the lecture. We had people in the lecture selling drugs in the lecture, running in off the street. But the thing is, this is a thing that I gotta wear. I gotta carry this from God. This I can't, like, this is what I gotta do. So for me, it's never been about like moving away from the people, because I gotta be where the action is at. That's where the people that need the information. Like I tell people all the time, if you keep talking about vegan lifestyle to people that's already goddamn vegan, then you're not really you're not doing the work. You're not doing the work. You're just telling vegans that's already vegan about vegan ideas. That's not really changing. That's not moving the chains. You got to go talk to John Q, you know, my man on the corner with the 50-cent beer right now with the Newport set. He popping his box. You know, he popping his box about the light. You got to talk to him about this information. You can get him to start talking some mitochondria shit. Then y'all working. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I know I can keep talking and talking and talking. I got to just close it and get out of here. People come find me. I didn't give y'all my info, my social, my number, this, that, the other. Yeah, I'm out of here.
Tell me your YouTube channel. This sister wants to know.
American Healer.
Okay, here he is. Thank you. The American Healer, the Robin Hood of medicine. I'm
That's a bar right there. We run it. We run.
I got this. I'm inheriting that from the HOK naming people.
That. I like that.
Thank you, Enqi. We will talk to you soon. I'm going to close out right now. I want to say peace to the darkest minds of the light. Assalamu alaikum, hotep, namaste, jambo ashe.
I got to leave before I start talking again.
All the greetings of love and light and to the darkest minds of the light. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. I love this 47 people. Peace. Especially missing you. I saw Barn Dog too. And Tahuti. It's kind of hard out here being a YouTube content creator. Peace.